Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today. I'm Jamie. That's Heath. Joining us now, it's our buddy Adam Aizer. You can hear him on our Fantasy Football Today podcast, the best podcast for all your fantasy football information. You can find it wherever podcasts are available. Adam, thanks for joining us here. You get to be the judge as we debate some of our Week 1 rankings. And so let's start with the quarterbacks. And there's a few guys we disagree on, but we'll start with one I think that is probably going to be started in the majority of leagues, no matter what I say. But Justin Herbert. So for me, he's 13th. For you, Heath, he's number 7. So Adam, are you starting Justin Herbert this week with confidence or a little bit of trepidation knowing he's facing the Washington football team?
Yeah, I'm going to start him with a little bit of trepidation, but he won't be 14th. I think Heath is a little bit better here. I think Heath's too high and Jamie's a little bit too low. He should probably be about 10th. I don't know if I can say that. Nobody wins. Look, obviously it's a tough matchup. That pass rush is dangerous. They had the worst offensive line in football last year, according to Pro Football Focus. It is going to be better this year. But looking back at Herbert, it didn't matter. When he was good at the beginning of the season, toward the middle of the season, great pass rush didn't matter. He killed you. Great defense didn't matter. He killed you. So when he's right, he's going to be really good. I wouldn't start Trevor Lawrence ahead of him. I wouldn't start Joe Burrow ahead of him. I'm not sure I'd start Stafford ahead of him. Stafford has pretty bad history against the Bears. I know it's a different situation, but still not an easy matchup. So I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a low-end starter somewhere in the middle of your rankings.
Yeah, listen, I will say this now because it's probably going to apply to several of the players in terms of how good opposing defenses are going to be in limiting fantasy production. That's not factored into a lot of my Week 1 rankings. And I do think the Washington football team is going to be good, but like Adam said, it didn't matter for Justin Herbert last year. He played one top 5 defense last year in terms of fantasy points allowed. That was the Saints. He played in their building in his 4th career start, and he threw for 264 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. I'm starting Justin Herbert.
It's hard to bench Justin Herbert. And look, 13th is at the quarterback position is still basically a starter. You mentioned a couple guys, Adam. I would start Stafford over him. I would actually consider starting Trevor Lawrence over him. I don't think anybody's going to do that. But I do think Lawrence has a better day based on the matchup that he has against the Texans. I just look at this pass rush. Yes, the offensive line is better, but you're putting a rookie tackle out there against Sweat and Chase Young, and I think those two guys are going to have a big impact on this game, plus a really good secondary getting Landon Collins back. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Justin Herbert, so I would not expect a huge game for him. So maybe 10th or 11th is probably a little bit more realistic of where I should have him ranked, but I just don't expect a huge game for Justin Herbert. But again, you draft him to be your starter, you're probably going to keep him in your lineup as well. Speaking of another, want more of the Fantasy Football Today podcast and nonstop year-round fantasy advice? It's simple. Hit the subscribe button and hang with us all throughout the year.